Last Man In episode 27. Myself and Cameron.
Still ongoing negotiations with Dan. He won't budge. His people aren't budging. Well, first off, he demands fresh tap water in Winnipeg, which is just, that's not going to happen. We don't know how to run the city. Who gets clean tap water? What are we? Where are we, in Canada?
Yeah.
What is this?
His demands are simple: E. coli free water.
Which is real tough to get now in Winnipeg.
What we said was, we're like, hey, we can do E. coli free, but it might be brown.
Your move, Dan.
Go.
Seriously.
Would you rather boil said water or just simply not be able to use it?
And that's where we're at today.
There's a dollar figure that he wants to be around, and we just can't.
We can't come to that. We can't fit him in. Like, we have guys up and coming in the system that could do his job for half the price. Now, why wouldn't we take that option? I don't know.
Exactly. We might just, dump his contract on waivers. And
why don't we just try and fix that problem by, putting it in waivers and then just praying he doesn't retire, and then that refractor period is just ridiculous. And, of course, we're talking about Mike Richards being placed on waivers.
Which we'll get to later.
Yes.
We'll start talking about the Jets. Obviously, Mike Richards touch on some World Cup. The outdoor games slated for next season that don't include the Jets. What happened during the All-Star weekend? Obviously, our McKeichel Finn watch.
Hashtag patented.
McKeichel
Finn.
Yeah.
McKeichel Finn watch.
McKeichel Finn watch. And then maybe, if there's time, we'll talk about some trade potential.
Yeah.
If there's time.
We love those.
Okay. Let's get started. Wow. That is not the right team. Right before the All-Star break. During last podcast, Winnipeg played Columbus. As we were recording, they were playing each other for the last game before the All-Star break. Winnipeg won 4-0. Hutchinson records another shutout. Moves back into the top
10?
3. In both categories. I think he was leading goals against and second in save percentage.
Jeez. He's pretty good. He's like 14-4-2, I think, or 4-3 or something.
Something like ridiculous. And then they keep turning to Pavlik, who hasn't won a game in quite a while.
You got to play 1A, 1B. That's what Pavlik is. Right? That's Hutchinson is as well. 1A, 1B. Oh. That's how the city works.
It's getting painful. It really, it's disappointing because it just... I don't know if Pavlik is that bad, but maybe he just is. Which leads me into the next game, where they played the Penguins. Crosby and Malkinless.
They won 4-0, right?
They won against Columbus 4-0.
Okay, go ahead. Yes. And then leading into the Penguins.
Yeah. The Crosby-Malkinless Penguins, because Crosby had a 1-game suspension for not going to the All-Star game.
Yes.
And Malkin was actually legitimately hurt.
And... fun fact about the Penguins, ever since, here we go.
9-0-1.
That is unbelievable.
Without Crosby and Malkin in the lineup.
And hey, we've said it here as well. Like, who are they without Crosby and them? Apparently a very talented team.
Maybe it's, just a well-coached, he gets them he's like, okay, so we don't have our best players, so we have to play our system. And maybe the coaching is better than we think it is.
Guys, this is how you break out. Please call for your passes. We don't have Sidney and Gino to lean on us anymore. So please play your role, play your system. When you want the puck, break out up the boards.
So unfortunately, they started the All-Star break, or post-All-Star game, with a loss to the Penguins, 5-3.
Yeah. Interesting
note about this game, Letang had 5 assists and was actually a game-time decision. Might have not even played.
Yeah. And I was just going to say, regarding the Penguins and Jets game, one of the players in that game for the Jets who scored was best friend, also known as Chris Thorburn.
Yeah.
Chris Thorburn has 5 goals this year. Mark Scheifele has 7. You know what, Jets? Get rid of Scheifele. You don't need that contract. You don't want that contract. Just sign Thor to a longer extension. Oh my God. He'll do great, right? He's the driving force behind that line, most certainly, obviously. 5 goals to 7 goals, what are you talking about? He does it all, folks. He does it all. You'll see tonight. He does it all.
Oh, God.
Tonight the Jets play Philadelphia Flyers, and I can't wait. I sit here in my Wayne Simmons home jersey, awaiting the slaughter. The Jets.
It's okay. Zepp's not in net.
The Zeppelin's not in net?
I don't think Zepp's in net.
I think Zepp's in net.
They loaned him to the Phantoms.
What kind
of Flyer fan are you?
Right, then Mace is in net. I'm totally fine with Steve Mason in net.
It's fine. Hutch is
okay.
net.
You guys didn't even you couldn't even handle the Zepp last time, and now we got Mace? What's harder to take down, a Zeppelin or a Mace? Don't ask Hindenburg, because he will give you a proper answer.
I don't know who any of these people are.
Hindenburg, like the Zeppelin, like that exploded. It's the Led Zeppelin cover. Oh my God, real? The Hindenburg.
No.
Okay, you know Goodyear blimps?
Yeah.
They used to use hydrogen in those.
Okay.
And there was a tear, and then like the oxygen got to it, and I don't know science. Someone's screaming at they're in their headphones right now, like you're an idiot. But it basically lit a blaze, and everyone died essentially.
Oh, jeez.
Because there's a blimp in the air, and they used hydrogen instead of just hot air, and it was in the air, and it just went kablamo. It was a bad attempt at a reference that you didn't even pick up on. Flyers are going to win tonight. That's what I was trying to get at. Okay. Anyways, continuing. Wayne Train's awesome.
I don't really think so.
You don't
I don't drink that Kool-Aid.
You don't drink the Wayne Train Kool-Aid?
No.
That's fine. He doesn't need your Kool-Aid. He doesn't need your drinking ability. I'll drink all the Kool-Aid. I don't care.
I'm not saying I wouldn't want him as a Jet. I'm not saying that.
No, you can't have him as a Jet.
But you know what? Take Giroux and Simmons off that team. Who do they have? No one. Exactly.
You're right. That's what I was going to say.
And Voracek. Jets are better. Take those 3 players away. Jets are better.
Oh, well, but then I have to take away your 3
No,
best
you
players.
don't. No. That's not how this works.
That's not how this game works. Greg. Way to go, Paul. I had to. Dude, did you see that?
No.
No? Okay, well, there's this video clip of this dad
I heard about it, yeah.
who's yelling at the ref, and he goes to smash his arms on the boards.
I did see that.
But it smashes, and
Yeah.
they're like, way to go, Paul. And I'm going to tweet this
part.
video clip because when I heard this and I heard Paul, that's like my reaction every time Paul Holmgren ever signed a deal. It's like, way to go, Paul. It's just the stupidest video clip ever. But yeah.
No, and he shatters the glass. Shatters it.
Yeah, and then he just stands there and everyone's like, oh my goodness. What has happened?
In the corner, you can see his wife just bury her head.
Yeah. Oh my God. Paul.
So they've only played 2 games. They played tonight.
Oh, the win streak came to an end.
What?
Against the Penguins.
Yes.
Okay.
That's fine.
No need to
panic.
No.
It's just 1 game. But people freak out because Pavlik was in net.
Naturally.
But Hutchinson's in net tonight, so things are probably going to get better. Stewart's on IR now. They placed him on IR.
Retroactive to who?
Bringing Perreault back.
Perreault.
Yeah, because Perreault came back against Pittsburgh.
Okay. The Jets fans should write a song called Retroactivity, radioactive. Retroactive, ho, ho. First we had Stu, and now it's true, but ho. I don't know. I just thought of that. Anyways.
Wow. It gets real weird when it's just me and you.
Yeah, I know. We really go off the board.
So Stewart's on IR. It's essentially because of what he had, the same injury that put him out for close to a month. They thought it was better.
Not better.
He can't play at the level that he's at. They're saying another week or 2 for him. Not a big deal.
It's nothing crazy.
No, exactly. Nothing that he can't come back from. Just before we started the podcast, actually, TJ Gagliardi was placed on waivers.
He's placed on waivers. Why is he placed on waivers? Are they going to trade him?
No, because they don't have room for him, I guess, and they want best friend. They need to keep best friend, right?
Best friend's the greatest player in the world. Weird fact about the Jets that I came across: only 9 of their 26 wins have been against teams in a playoff spot. They've only beaten 6 out of the 15 playoff teams because they're one of them. Isn't that ridiculous?
That is kind of ridiculous.
They've only just beaten just over a third, just a hair over a third of the playoff teams.
Also, they haven't had LA at home yet.
Like LA here.
They've played most of these playoff teams that they've played on the road.
That's true.
They haven't played a game against Calgary or Vancouver yet.
Those are playoff teams?
Yeah.
They're not in the playoffs. Both those teams
are in the playoffs.
Oh, mama. That's awesome. You know what I'd like to see? Anaheim get first in the West. Calgary get 8th. Or Calgary play them.
Yeah.
Upset them. Game 7. Johnny Gaudreau spinning, icing shot, low liner from top of the circle. I'm calling it. It's going to happen in double OT. Quote me. It's going to happen. If that happens, I expect a letter from someone in the mail.
Why?
I don't know. I just said it. People are maybe more prone to send me a letter than paying me. I don't know.
I'm very confused.
I have
where
no
you're going
idea
here.
where my thought process went with that. Anyways,
Jets are on pace for 100 points currently.
Yeah.
Which is nice, which means they'd be in the playoffs. I looked after 48 games during the lockout shortened season. The Jets have 60 points. I think in the lockout shortened season they had like 51 and missed the playoffs by a couple points. But they would actually be like fourth in the West.
Right now.
Yeah.
Oh,
in the lockout shortened season.
I like how we always go back to that. It's like, well, if they're still in the playoffs right now.
Yeah.
What are they, 6th?
Well, they're technically 7th, but it's because
Oh yeah, stupid wild.
they would be 5th right now.
But we're 6th.
But we're 7th.
7th.
Because both San Jose and Vancouver have less points than us, but are in their division. Because right, it's top 3 in division, then the 2 wildcard spots.
Ah, yes. Okay, well.
Disappointing, for sure.
Who, out of the playoff teams in the West, right now, who's the team, the team you don't want the Jets to play in round 1? Do not.
Blues.
Blues? Mine's Nashville. Dude, Pekka Rinne and Shea Weber in the playoffs become whole new animals. Like, they...
You're right, but the thing is can they keep their competitive, like, Forsberg's a rookie, you could probably shake him. He's been great, but you could probably shake him.
Neil has been shaken.
Yeah. Like
Evander Kane, you got that problem solved. Put Evander Kane on the ice when James Neal's there. James Neal is the equivalent to their Evander Kane. He bites on everything.
No. You know what you do? You put Thorburn out there because Thorburn solves all problems.
Best friend, citizen, and the
Lowry.
the first man.
The low train.
The first man.
Why is he first man?
Adam and Eve, the first man.
Oh my god, I think I've heard that before. I think you've told me that like 4
I
times.
have.
I always forget.
You should know these things.
I don't remember
I
a
don't
lot.
blame you. It's very stupid. I got a nickname for everybody.
You have too much time on your hands.
I do have a lot of time on my hands. Yeah.
I go out and talk to companies and try to get jobs, and you sit in your room and look up weird hockey stats.
And weird hockey stats.
And weird Reddit feeds, apparently.
I'm not talking about. I love 50-50. Best. If you haven't heard of Reddit, first off, I'm amazed you found a podcast before Reddit. Secondly, if you have heard of Reddit, take some time out of your life and go to Reddit 50-50.
No. Don't do it.
But spell like FIFTY. It's excellent. It'll take you on an adventure. You'll see some things you can't unsee. That's for certain. And yeah, I can't come back from that.
No, you can't do it.
No, we can't.
Okay. So we'll move on. Mike Richards was placed on waivers this week.
Yes.
Actually cleared waivers, shockingly enough.
Because no one wants that contract.
No one wants a contract, and apparently during All-Star Weekend they tried to trade him, and a few trades were very close, including one with the Toronto Maple Leafs to see Dion Phaneuf get sent to LA in exchange for Tanner Pearson or Tyler Toffoli and Mike Richards. Because Toronto saw it as them doing them a favor by taking the Mike Richards contract and saying, we'll also take this guy. But unfortunately, LA said no because they didn't want to give up Toffoli or Pearson.
Wow. Oh.
Did you not hear that?
No.
Oh, yeah. That was.
I'm just thinking, not even Mike Richards, but like, that would shore up the third line. But like, on even that, even just Toffoli. Whoa. What wing does he play? Left?
I think he's right or left. Because I know Pearson's left.
My goodness gracious. What if that happened? You could have Tyler Toffoli, Phil Kessel, and I guess Kylie Bozeman. I mean, really. You
could finally put Kadri on the first line with Toffoli and Kessel.
Oh, that sucks it didn't happen. I would have liked to see that.
And then you could do, or like you could even,
and of course
it would just shore up your depth.
And of course, Phaneuf would have a resurgence as a king naturally.
Him and Doughty would be playing 40 minutes a game, and they'd be the most terrorizing duo in hockey.
Oh yeah, because like even if Doughty magically coughed up the puck, you have to keep your head up because you got a freight train coming at you. Because Doughty is talented enough to... they're both talented enough to allow each other to play each other's games, so they complement each other really good.
If you think about it, like, look at who Phaneuf's played with in Toronto. They've never really been
Who would
decent.
that be? I don't even.
Carl Gunnarsson, mostly.
Eh,
Yeah. Not a bad player. Not a
No.
first-line defenseman.
No.
Not a
Well,
top
that's
two
like
pair.
Stewart when he had to play like top line and then like even second line minutes, like higher
Yeah.
second line minutes. He doesn't flourish as well as in that third line role
Yeah.
where, man, those 8 to 12 minutes, he sure makes them count. Yeah.
Blocks a lot of shots.
Yeah. That's awesome.
But I had tweeted, I thought it was kind of interesting. If I'm a team like Edmonton could have gotten him.
Is he a guy
and
that's
then
going
you
to
can
really
move-
show you?
But no, like it's not even that. It just he's a guy that can play. He could probably. You know what? I think that he's not as bad as people think he is. He was just put into that fourth line role in LA because they're so deep. At center, like he could probably still play second or third line minutes and be good. Sure, it's going to be an expensive contract, but I still think there's worse NHL contracts than Mike Richards.
Now, who would LA have wanted in return? Probably Jordan Eberle.
No, what I'm saying is they could have picked him off waivers.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
But see, here's the thing that was weird. Okay, his contract's 5.75.
yeah.
Dan
His
was
cap
saying
hit.
something about 6.
His contract is 6. He makes 6, but his cap hit is 5.75.
Okay, so here's
His
the deal.
cap hit stays the same for the next
Because
3 years or whatever.
Because arguably the best GM at signing contracts signed him to a 12-year contract when he was 23. And that is Paul Holmgren. God,
Oh my god.
what?
Did he? Yeah, it was
12 years! Jeff Carter's got a long one too. Anyways, he signed it when he was 23, okay? So that contract's up when he's 35. Mike Richards is 30. Now, that was my dog agreeing.
Dog.
Now, if by chance Mike Richards decided to retire before his contract's up, you have to pay half the amount of his contract, so $3 million, but twice the length of what's left in it. So say if he retires when he's 33. Okay?
Yeah, it's cap or capture penalties.
That's $3 million for 6 years. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. Even with the cap going up, that is a lot of money.
The weird thing is, even with doing this, they only saved $925,000.
The Kings.
The Kings in cap room. They only saved $925,000.
Well, it seems like nothing to us in terms of like NHL money.
But
I mean, look at the Leafs. The reason they're sending guys out, pulling them down, is to save money. They're going to save themselves $200,000 this year by just sending guys up, putting guys down. So that's why they're doing it so often.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to bite them because they have to watch out. Because once you pass the trade deadline, you're only allowed 6 movements, so they have to really or 8, I believe.
They've already done 2.
I remember.
They've already done 4. Sorry, they did 3 already in the last 2 days.
But it only starts counting after the trade deadline.
Oh, yeah.
Until the playoffs,
Oh,
trade deadline, until the end of the season. Because you remember the year that Vancouver. Remember the year that the couple years that the last years that the Moose were here when they went on the AHL run.
Yeah.
The Canucks had Cody Hodgson sitting in the box, and they were like, "Oh, well, I guess we'll send him down for playoffs." They sent him down for a few games, and then he did great, so they kept him here. They wanted to pull him back up, but they were like, "Oh, we only have 2 more moves after this, and we might go to the Cup final." They didn't end up going to the Cup final the year that the Moose went to the Calder final.
That was the year that they took the cup back to Pearl Harbor, right?
Yeah. Taking it back to Pearl Harbor. Now, that's a reference to Greg and I. That was one of the first times.
That was the first time we met.
Yeah, the first time we met, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, it was. That's what you just said. Yeah.
I said met, yeah.
Okay, first time we met, it was at the Moose game, Calder Cup final.
Game 6?
Game 6. No, Game 5.
No,
because
Game
the
6.
Moose lost in Game 6.
Yeah, we were there when they lost in Game 6.
Did we hang around and go look at pictures and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. We watched Matthew Perreault and Carl Alsner. No, John Carlson lift the cup. Or
And
was it
Carl Alsner.
And
Varlamov was in that.
no, not Varlamov.
No, it was
The guy who's in Buffalo.
Neuwirth.
Yeah, Neuwirth, yeah. Anyway, that sucked watching
That was
the team
also
lose,
the
but
year.
it was awesome.
That was also the year in the Stanley Cup playoffs where it was that Washington Pittsburgh series, which might have been one of my favorite series to watch.
Oh, wow, that's weird. I went to go and I burped, or hiccuped. This is gonna be a rough one. Yeah, but that was what was I making reference to? It was pulling the guys up. It making the moves because they were weary on pulling Hodgson up because they were like, well, if we pull him up and don't make it, we can't send him back down because our team is. It was weird.
A little note about that story that Cam didn't really tell too well.
Oh, right.
So we're at the Moose game, and these 2 guys, were they next to us? They were next to us.
Right in front of us.
Were they in front of us or next to us?
No, they were next to us because he
Okay.
smelled like piss.
Yeah. They smelled awful.
They were not, I think they were homeless who got free tickets.
We were in the Bud Lounge.
Yeah.
We're
in the Bud Lounge.
Yeah,
right.
I had my popcorn, my poutine, my 4 beers, my hot dog.
Dude, you had nachos too. No, you had
nachos.
Okay.
I never spent that much money ever.
A friend of ours, like a mutual friend, Tyler, who was on the podcast, it was me, our friend Grant, our Tyler, and then Greg. And Tyler warned Grant and I, because we were there, and then we were picking up Greg on the way. He's like, okay, guys, this guy's a bigger dude. Like, not like fat or anything, just tall guy, but he eats so much. And we're like, come on, he can't eat that much. He literally ate, the buckets of popcorn? He ate the whole thing himself. He didn't even share. He didn't even offer anyone. And then he had popcorn, then he went and got waffle fries, and then he went and got a hot dog, a foot long. And then he's like, oh yeah, and then he went and got nacho cheese. Didn't share with anyone. And I'm pretty sure there was a chocolate bar sprinkled in there and like 2 Cokes. It was ridiculous. And the guy in front of, or the guy beside us, like the homeless guy, or we'll call him the hobo. The hobo beside us reeked of like scope and piss.
Oh, it was hilarious.
And so
that game 6 was when it was game 7 between Pittsburgh and Detroit in the 2009 playoffs, and they announced it in the building that Pittsburgh had won. So this homeless guy in his drunkenness was like, that's a good kid winning it for Pearl Harbor. We're like, what?
Yeah, and he's like, Sidney Crosby gonna bring the cup back to Pearl Harbor. And he was talking like, oh my God, like, when guys are just like acting like idiots, like, oh yeah. He talked like that. He was real. And so we put our one buddy beside him, Grant, right?
Yeah.
He didn't he hated us. But he didn't really watch hockey. He doesn't watch hockey that much. So.
No, but the funniest part about that is we all looked at each other like, wasn't he born in Coal Harbor? Like,
yeah, no, we all knew. We're like, taking him back to Pearl Harbor.
Hey.
Yeah.
Back it up here. So Vancouver didn't want to do a bunch of moves.
Yeah.
So Hutchin got to stay here. I didn't actually know that. That's an interesting thing to say.
Yeah, I remember. And then remember, they always pooched us too. Like being the Moose AHL. Like when a guy would start doing good, like Grabner, they did it to him all the time. Michael Grabner was like the best. He was such a fan favorite. And Vancouver, we get pissed because we were AHL fans, not NHL. Like now, I'm like, oh yeah, hell yeah. I'll have Patrice Cormier in the box. Yeah. But it's like, you don't know what their value is to the AHL team because we don't care about the AHL really. Like in terms of owning an NHL team, like having a team here. And so when they took Grabner and he'd go there for a week and not play, and we're like, you're not even playing him. Give him back. This is stupid.
I want my nice thing and I can't play with it. Give it back to me.
So, basically, way back to the Mike Richards. Everyone's weary of that contract because of the recapture penalties.
Potential. But the way I see it is, why wouldn't a team like Edmonton or Colorado, who's in the business, who wants to move a guy right now? Because Colorado, they can move a guy, and then they have the freedom of being like, hey, now we can move Ryan O'Reilly. We have that spot filled by Mike Richards, and then we can go get a defenseman.
That is correct. Why didn't they do that? I don't know.
It might have been they don't have enough cap space. It might have also been that they didn't think that Richards would be a good fit there, as they're a fast team, not a grind team.
Yeah.
And that could be the same thing with Edmonton, even though everyone's saying that they need to
Edmonton
not have...
plays that open, have you ever noticed when Edmonton plays the Hawks, once a year for the past couple of years, they just whoop their ass. And it's just because, not all the time, but it's always usually in Edmonton, I feel. But anyways, it's where a team will decide to play open-style hockey against Edmonton. That's all Edmonton knows how to do, because what is open-style hockey? It's individualistic play.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Where Edmonton, they have just individual players, and they're all fast, they're all talented, they can all turn and burn you. And every time a team decides to play them, they'll have 1 or 2 games a year where it's 5-game losing streak. And then they'll win 8-1. Yeah. It just doesn't make sense.
World Cup was announced during...
It was All-Star Weekend?
All-Star Weekend?
Yes.
Just quick, we talked about it last week, but a quick correction, you said?
Oh, well, no, we just didn't know when it was, but September 17th to October 1st, all games will be played in Toronto at the Air Canada Centre. They're going to try and do it every 4 years to expand the game internationally. And this is what we were wondering. Every player that is under 23 that's named to the North American team must play for the North American under 23 or the under 23 Super Kid team. Yeah. And they're ineligible for their team if they get named.
Have you seen what the potential roster could be for that team?
I have not. I haven't even looked at it one little bit. Oh, it'll be
Scary.
played on NHL ice with NHL refs as well.
Very
And
interesting.
NHL rules, obviously.
Do we have a host city for that?
Yeah, Toronto.
Oh, okay.
It's
in
only
Toronto?
in Toronto at the ACC.
Oh,
and the
okay.
final is confirmed 3 games.
Oh, okay.
So you could potentially, I doubt it, but you could have under 23 super team versus the smorgasbord that is Europe's super team, because they're my teams.
Is that who you're going to cheer for?
The
Over Team Cam?
smorgasbord? Team Borscht? Yes. I'll cheer for Team Borscht. Hell yeah. Let's do this. Why not?
Yeah, sure.
Who hasn't wanted to cheer for a national team with Marian Hossa and Anze Kopitar?
Who else should be on that team?
Nick Ehlers, potentially.
Potentially.
I highly doubt it, but
Maybe.
could be.
Who's the other really big name that could be there? Marian Gaborik?
Where's Gavin?
No, never mind. He's Czech Republican.
Yeah.
So is it
Wait, is Hossa? Where's Hossa from? Big Hoss.
Slovakia, isn't he?
Okay, yeah. Oh, you could have
Zdeno.
Zdeno, yeah.
Oh
Dang.
boy,
Oh my god, we could see the return of Nick Antropov.
we could,
Kazakhstan.
we could.
4th on grinder, why not?
Man, you know who else?
Tomas Hertl? Or is
Tomas?
he Czech? Is he Czech? He's Czech.
Is he Czech?
Czech Republic, yeah, he was on.
Maybe we should check if he's Czech, just to check, make sure.
Yeah,
Checkmate.
and then we could check mate. Yeah, damn it.
Check and mate. Win that argument. No, who's the other guy? Komarov? The Estonian Russian /
Oh yeah,
Bulgarian.
like born in Russia, raised in Estonia, learned by the sheet of metal. Like this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. And also another note on last week's podcast, we named the teams playing in it. We were mistaken. The Habs will be playing at the Bruins in Gillette Stadium on January 1st, Winter Classic.
Yeah.
Where we were mistaken. The Hawks are playing the Wild in
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota, TCF Bank Stadium, February 21st. The Red Wings will be playing Colorado at Coors Field. I thought Minnesota, Colorado were playing back-to-backs, which would have been cool.
Oh, that would have been cool. Do you know why the Detroit Avalanche, why they're playing each other?
Because of the old rivalry. Which
Let's
I guess
ignite
we
that.
could actually lead right into this.
Let's
I mean, are we
ignite
not yet?
The fire,
What?
like the 4th of July. No, firework from freaking Interview?
Well, yeah, but what were you leading into?
I don't know. I wasn't leaning into anything. I was just singing it.
We were talking about. Oh yeah, that's what I could lead into. Super smooth transition, Cameron. Thank you. Only 4 players in Detroit's lineup did not play in the Grand Rapids system. 4.
Okay, Pavel Datsyuk. Negative, he did.
Zetterberg played there.
Do you know which 4 it is?
No, I don't. It was a tweet. I really should have fact checked this.
God, who would it be? Kyle Quincy is 1.
Stephen Weiss.
Stephen Weiss, 2.
Think of trades and acquisition.
Like, that's the only thing I can think.
Stephen Weiss, Kyle Quincy.
This is really entertaining podcasting.
Yeah, wow. I don't know. We'll get back to you.
But that's crazy.
4 guys. Wow. That's unbelievable. Maybe Jonas? No.
Who?
Gustafson?
Gustafson, is he still there, though?
Well, he's hurt.
Oh, okay, then yeah, Gustafson would be
Unless they
1.
sent him down. No, he's always been the backup. So Gustafson? Wow, these guys aren't even like the good ones.
No, not at all. It's not like their entire team is Grand Rapids Griffins. Like,
Well, that's
we'll
the thing.
remember them when we were younger, even when they were playing against the Moose. How good they were.
They've never not been good that I can remember.
I'm
That's
trying not to brush
Here,
my.
I'll put
Okay,
my feet
where are
back
your
here.
feet going?
My feet are back. You can have it.
Okay,
We're playing footsie under the table.
it's really weird.
Yeah, well, that's the thing that all NHL teams have to understand is that they have a system in Grand Rapids, which is the same system as Detroit. They play the same roles, and that's where players step in, namely Gustav Nyquist and
Thomas Tartar sauce.
Thomas Tartasos, and they do great because they play
Even
the same
Yurko.
role, and you don't have to relearn anything. And
Yeah.
that's what all NHL teams should strive for.
And that's probably why they're going to keep Babcock there, is because Babcock's a lot. He buys into the system that they've been doing for so long, and he agrees with it.
Which
and
coach was
And
that?
he's not afraid. And he's not afraid to bring guys up and put them in that role and make them feel important. What were you gonna say?
Oh no, I love that, and that I was just gonna continue on. The reason John Tortorella didn't make it really as a great coach was because it's alleged that while he was in New York, he didn't, or even in Vancouver, he didn't make one phone call Like, to the AHL affiliate, to the coach. Like, even when they were calling up guys, he's just like, yeah, I've called this guy before. Do it. I don't care. It's not like he'll be playing. It's like, my goodness. Like, I'm guaranteed Paul Maurice, or even back in the day with Claude Noel, Santa Claude Noel. That didn't make sense. Santa Claude is Ginger Jesus. Anyways, I guarantee they're on the phone like at least once every couple of days with Keith McCambridge, getting like a report on how the guys are doing out on the Rock. So,
and I think that's really well integrated just through management, and that's one of the biggest things that you have to do. And I know that there was a lot of transparency between Dallas Eakins and I think probably Randy Carlyle.
I mean, like
back in the day,
they thought of each other highly, or like, what do you mean?
A lot of transparency with the way the teams were doing because Eakins was the old Marlies coach and Carlisle was the Leafs coach.
Oh, like when they both did good. I didn't understand.
Yeah.
That. Okay. Yeah.
So quick notes. So Toronto will be celebrating its 100th season in 2017. So they will have the All-Star game, and they will also have an outdoor game that year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where are they gonna have it? Rogers Center.
I guess so.
You're gonna put it. Well, I guess that's where the Argos play, right? Or BMO Field. That's
no,
tiny.
it's too small.
Way
it
too
would
small.
it would have to be a Rogers Center.
That might not work. Open the roof.
They put in BC Place.
Yeah. Good point.
It looked weird though in BC Place.
What's the next outdoor game here? Is it? Or are they done this year?
They're done. Oh no,
Stadium
they still
series.
have.
Stadium.
They still have one more, don't they? The Kings in San Jose.
Stadium series, yeah.
Yeah, they've.
LA and Sharks.
Yeah. But they already played one stadium. No, they only have one stadium series game this year,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay.
That is correct.
Ooh, I'm excited to see what Colorado's going to pull out for their stadium series jerseys.
It'll be nice. It'll be brand new.
Could be Minnesota Wild North Stars. Minnesota North Star jerseys. I don't know if they can because they're technically not the North Stars, but those would be sweet.
And it's
Maybe if you pulled out, maybe for Colorado, if they pulled out Rockies jerseys.
That's New Jersey.
I know, but hold Colorado.
That'd be
Because
pretty
technically it's the same with like the Jets, right?
cool. Except we were given those logos.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm sure you could get them.
Or Quebec Nordiques.
Or Nordiques.
And then like foreshadow the future of the Nordiques coming
And
back.
then during that
yeah.
no, after the game, Gary Bettman's like, yeah, Quebec, now you're getting your team. Drops mic,
Drops
walks
mic,
off.
And then runs back and there's Bill Daly like, okay, so you're actually getting your team, it'll be blah blah blah. Carolina's moving and Jack Eichel's like, God damn it! Just kidding.
I have to go there. I don't want to
Speak French, the language of love. Pissed
A quick note about that is their arena that they're building solely for hockey is actually
They got the AOK?
it's already in construction. They're putting the seats in.
Shut up.
Yeah.
For Quebec.
Yeah.
I thought they were like the government was holding up on that.
No.
Weird.
Yeah. At least I saw something on Twitter about it. So yeah.
So it's got to be real.
Just a note. I read it this week for the first time ever, and I think everyone who listens to this podcast should also read it. Elliot Freeman's 30 Thoughts post on Mondays.
He's genius. You
It's
don't
so
read
good.
those. They're so good.
This was the first time I read it was this
Wow.
week. It is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So read it. It's actually
We'll tweet him then.
Yeah.
That's your job on Twitter now. You
What?
see Elliot Friedman tweet 30 Thoughts, you retweet that.
Okay.
I'll assign you that.
Okay. I'll try to remember.
Yeah, try your best. Try your darn tootinest.
So over the last weekend, obviously, was the All-Star game / festivities. So it was Team Scorino
Powered by Major Super Gumption.
versus Team Taves.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, here during the fantasy draft, I'll just say the person who was the winner is this guy.
Oh, yeah, for points, Greg already received. I swapped out a Slurpee for Booster Juice. We had him before we started.
He wanted to give me a BJ. It's just what happened.
Very inappropriate. You're lucky we have an explicit tag, sir.
There's a lot of times where I'm like, hey, good thing I have an explicit tag. Otherwise, we'd be fucked.
Namely, that sentence. Yeah.
Could you just imagine? It's like, yeah, I found this new podcast, Mom. And then just like, yeah, I had a BJ. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden just gets
I
out
got
of
a
hand from
banana
there.
one. What'd you get?
Pineapple.
And
Do you
how
know what
was
they
it?
say about pineapple?
It stings when you get it in your eye.
Yes. Exactly.
Uh-huh.
No,
And by the
they
way,
hurt
no,
when they
there's
fall on your
science-
head.
Oh, yeah. That's been disproven, by the way, multiple times.
What?
of that pineapple thing that you're trying to lead into?
I'm not leaning into anything.
Oh, shut up. Get out of here. Look what happens when Dan isn't here. It's just like way off topic. We never talk about the Jets ever.
Tangent time. We are the Tangent Podcast.
Yeah. All right. What happened in the All-Star game?
Let's go over the... What's that? Skills competition first?
Well, what happened in the draft?
Let's talk draft then. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
I was going to go really odd hatchet order. I was going to go...
Are you going to Tarantino it?
I was going to
Tarantino it then.
No, I don't want to Tarantino it anymore.
Why?
I want to go chronologically now.
Okay, fine.
We're
going to Tarantino a podcast one day. Let's do that.
Oh my God.
Dude.
Start with Mikhail Finwatch.
Next.
Then finish with it at 2?
Yeah. No, next podcast that Dan's in on with us, when we finally agree on those ridiculous terms, we're going to Tarantino the podcast.
We're totally good.
Let's do it. Let's start with Mikhail and then Mikhail Finwatch, and then we'll go to the middle a little bit. And then go for one line of the one game of the Jets, and then back to Mikhail Finn again, and then tease a bit more the middle, and then we'll round out the Jets, and then we'll go back to the middle, and then finish again with Mikhail Finn. There we go. You got it. That's a promise from me to you, folks.
That contract though, that's gonna be a tough contract to sign.
What contract?
Dan's.
It's gonna be ridiculous. I mean, well, first he demands like E. coli free water, and I mean earlier he's. That contract he wants it's unacceptable.
It's now Fiji water. I just got a text.
Oh, it's Fiji water?
Fiji water only.
Unbelievable.
Must be supplied with 2 bottles per podcast.
Does he want room temperature or chilled?
I think it's chilled.
Oh, no.
Let me text him.
Remember last time we got chilled.
Oh, my God. Okay. So, during the draft, the first person picked was Ryan Johansson, of course, because Foligno had first pick overall.
Scorino.
So, they picked Ryan Johansson. Clearly, it's not Scorino, considering the fact that they lost.
Yeah, that's true. There's no major super gun.
Your team also lost.
Yeah.
I won.
Yeah.
Next person picked in draft was Phil Kessel.
Filthy Phil Kessel.
And it seemed that Jonathan Taves had a great sense of humor about it. He's like, he's had a disappointment a couple of years, so I thought I'd give this one to him. Plus, we wanted a really good coachable player.
And we all agree he's very coachable. Well, yeah.
Oh,
if there's any one thing, I did enjoy it, but the players are pretty drunk. I'm certain.
Yeah,
they had a few drinks.
They had to have been.
Yeah. But look at Ovi. I need car. Which turned out to be a great thing. Did you hear about that?
Yes, we will talk about it.
Okay.
I'll tease that at the end. Because that happened after the All-Star game.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
We're going in actual order.
Okay. Well, after the teams are drafted, or midway through, what happened? Was there something, a momentous occasion in All-Star drafting history that happened?
There was the first ever trade.
And what happened in that
Kessel for Sagan.
Because the reason they said it was, well, it's worked in the past, so let's do it. Tyler Sagan for Phil Kessel, and they both just...
It's funny, too, because they went against each other in Fastest Skater, and Phil won by a hair.
He did. That's pretty cool. Who was the fastest skater?
You said it was Jonathan Drouin.
It was. I just don't know the time. Okay. Who were the other?
I was going to mention quickly. During that entire time, Alexander Ovechkin was lobbying for a car, which we'll get to the reason why later. Yeah. But a lot of people are like, they found it funny, but at the same time, it almost was like, well, why does he need a car? And they were getting a little frustrated. The 2 players, and it was if you made it to the last round of drafting, which he didn't. He was picked. The third last pick.
Well, normally it was dead last, but they kept it a surprise this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so the guys who got cars were Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Philip Forsberg.
Yeah.
And, Ovechkin was picked one before the car, and you just saw him as soon as they're like, yeah, so both you guys get cars this year. Ovechkin just, threw his arms up in the air.
I want the car.
You know what? And the thing is I read it a lot on Twitter. People didn't like Ovechkin when he entered the league. A lot of people had issues with him because of that Russian ego or whatever it is.
People love him now. He's
got to be one of the most lovable players in the league. Plus, played really well. Took over the goal-scoring lead again last night.
Yeah. 29.
Man, watch out for Washington.
Goal-scoring league. How many... Hold on.
He could score 50 this year.
Well, Wayne Simmons has 18 right now. Or 17. So, I mean, if he scored 15 goals on the Jets tonight.
15.
15, not
15.
15.
Okay.
Well, Hutch. I mean, he's not very good.
No.
I mean, they beat him last time.
No.
Or no, it was Pavlik last time in net.
Yeah, exactly.
I fully expect Dustin Buffin to elbow Claude Giroux yet again and go unpenalized because that's what he does. He's a dirty old player. Whatever. Back to the All-Star game. Bufflin, how cool is
do you know how to go in a straight line, or you're just like
never
veer off?
My
in
life is a
different
veer.
directions?
That's what it is.
So yeah, that was kind of the story of the All-Star draft, which was actually really well done, and it was great to see players actually come out of their shells. Maybe it was the alcohol.
Probably.
Maybe it was just the fact that they actually wanted to come out of their shells a little bit. And you know what? It was good for the game of hockey. It was probably the best part of All-Star Weekend, which is kind of sad in a sense. Then came the skills competition, which still, in its own, was decent. It wasn't bad. It had its moments.
Yeah.
But overall, it's just kind of the same old stuff.
Yeah.
Weber won hardest shot,
No
108.5.
surprise.
Jonathan Drouin, fastest skater. Breakaway challenge, which was hilarious. Ryan Johansson went toe-to-toe with Jakub Voracek. Ryan Johansson played to the crowd, took off his jersey to reveal an Ohio State Buckeyes jersey, and did a breakaway challenge that way, which the fans loved. And then he took a little kid. And
The trainer's little kid.
Yeah, and then did a skate with him, and he scored. That was his other breakaway challenge.
And kudos to Elliott and Crawford, the goalies. They know goalies know their role in the All-Star game is to just let goals go in.
Yeah.
But they really played.
In that one.
Speaking of which, like we tweeted from the
Yeah.
account.
Retweeted the
Brian
Elliott selfie with Vladimir Tarasenko in the background going for a slap shot.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious. But I was going to mention, and then after that trainer kid thing happened, Voracek answered back by grabbing Johnny Gaudreau and doing it with him, and that's why he won, was because that was absolutely the best thing he could have answered with.
Yeah.
And I actually heard something about what he was going to do, but I totally forgot what it was.
I do. He was the next round, like I guess they had another round after that. He was gonna go and grab Buff. Because how funny would that have been? Buff is huge. Like just grabbing Buff. Yeah.
You know what? Overall, it was still decent. Most accurate was Patrick Kane, and overall, Team Foligno won that. With some, there were some pretty good breakaway moves in the.
They set the record for most goals. Oh, in the All-Star game itself, they set the record for most goals.
As it was a final of 17-12. Was that what it was?
I think so.
Yeah, 17-12.
Yeah.
And Tavares had 4 goals.
5th player to do so, I think, right?
Yep.
And then
Johansson won.
Best
MVP.
player. Yeah.
2
Even
goals, 2
though
assists.
Voracek had 6 points, sorry.
Yeah, Voracek had 6 points. I don't know how he didn't win it.
Johansson, whatever. He got a part of it too.
Yeah, I guess the home team thing as well.
Yep.
Did you see that thing? I can't remember who tweeted it. But it was like Claude Giroux and Voracek. It's like side by side Voracek and Giroux. It's like Voracek looks like Claude Giroux's like bum brother or something like that.
40-year-old bum brother. Yeah.
Yeah, and then did you see what account stole that tweet and played it off as their fucking own? My God, wheeling problems.
That's what they do.
They don't know how to create original content.
No, they do not.
You know what? A lot of those Twitter sites that sell shit now, it's just regurgitated stuff all the time.
Well, yeah, that's like on back to Reddit again. You have to watch out because if it's not an original post, people will shred you. People they close down accounts because of that. So it's like that's what they should do on Twitter too, because like wheeling problems have done it countless times.
And people are, oh my God, this is so funny, and then it's like, why? Like, be like props to this guy for saying it.
Yeah.
Like it's not. We're not getting mad because you're stealing a tweet. We're getting mad that you're not giving the person who came up with it. You're passing it off as your own. It's plagiarism.
Yeah, it's stealing a joke. Is what it is. It is. Yeah, it's plagiarism. That's exactly what it is.
Speaking of that, I saw the new Dane Cook stand-up. Pretty funny.
Is it?
Even though people say he steals jokes, I still find Dane Cook very funny.
I haven't seen it yet.
It's pretty good. It's on YouTube.
We have to clean up with Ovi. What happened with Ovi?
Oh, yes. So, yeah, that's basically all I have to say about the All-Star game. But Ovechkin really lobbied for a car all weekend long. He wanted that car. And he tried to get MVP to get that car. And everyone's like, why does he need a car? As I said earlier. Well,
the representatives of Honda went to him and said, "Why do you want this car so bad? Like, we know you have like 8 cars. Like, what's going on?"
He donated it.
Yeah.
To. Oh, I'm gonna get
Niagara Kids.
Yes.
Is that
something? Washington girls hockey team. Right?
Essentially, he spent a day with a girl who isn't as I believe she has some sort of
mental disorder.
Mental disorder.
It's either some sort of disability.
Less fortunate
than
others. Yeah. And he loved it. He had a great time with the young lady, and like they were big fans of each other. And he actually he didn't just do the standard, oh, well, sign an autograph, take a picture. Like, he took her out for a day, and he had fun too.
Yeah, exactly.
He didn't just like do it because he actually had a fun time, which I could see Ovechkin being great at doing stuff like that. And he actually gave her a shout out on the air, and apparently he's been beaming ever since, which is excellent. I'll find the article and tweet it so that we know.
It's incredible. Like, yeah. I read it, and it's just one of those things that makes you love what, like, some athletes put on a face, and some athletes are genuinely nice, and it was just a genuinely nice thing that he did, and it's good for him, and it's good for the game. Like, these kinds of things go a long, long way with just, I guess, media in general. Last thing I want to talk about in regards to the All-Star game was the fact that the NHL has now teamed up with GoPro for that whole All-Star thing, and that looked really cool. All the different
Philip
camera
Forsberg
angles.
stick handling.
Oh, that was so cool.
You know what the trick is? The heel.
The heel.
Heel stick handling, not toe. Do you see that? He had a scythe, and he only stick handled with, like, midway of the heel. That's, like, the one thing I took away from that. Like, every time I think of GoPro, I think of Philip Forsberg stick handling with the heel, and I'm like, it's the heel, not the toe. I know now.
So I gotta start heel dragging, not toe dragging.
Well, next year I'll be calling in, because I'll be in the NHL.
Oh!
I'll tell you how All-Star game goes.
Okay, sounds good.
You won't be there. I'll be there.
Well, like, because you're on my NHL 15 as a 99 overall.
I am a 99 overall.
You're leading the league in points.
Yeah, well, that was your fault for not deleting me.
You know what? You're the one that created a player for one game. You played one game in my house. You're like, I'm going to create myself. Who does that?
I did, and it's awesome. How many points do I have now?
I haven't checked, but I think through like 70 games, you have something like 130.
Oh, not 2 points a game. Kind of disappointed.
No.
Kind of let myself down there.
Don't worry, Philadelphia's top of the league. It's you, Giroux, and Voracek. That's the team's first line.
Wonder what they call me. Papa. Does it make everyone feel at home?
Wow. Dad, come back. We'll listen to any terms.
We'll sign any contract you want.
This is getting out of hand.
All right, we're moving on. Let's do this. Trades. There was one. Maxime Lapierre from the Blues got traded to the Penguins for Marcel Gotch. Gotch. Oh, I said that.
Gotch.
Signings. Travis Moore and a center for the Dallas Stars signed a 2-year extension. As per team's policy, the terms were not disclosed. Screw you, Dallas. Why don't you be like Nashville with this transparency?
Oh my God.
Go. What?
Let's talk about it now. Martin Brodeur officially retired from the NHL today, this morning.
Yes.
He retires as the goalie with the most amount of wins, shutouts, playoff wins.
Do we need numbers on those numbers you're naming?
You know what? Give us those numbers.
Okay. He has record for most wins at 691. Shutout record at 125 shutouts. 24 of which are in the playoffs. 24 shutouts in the playoffs. He's won a Stanley Cup without being scored on a whole series and change. Yeah. He could wait, 16? Oh my goodness. He could win you a Stanley Cup and the next year take you into the third round without getting scored on.
Yep.
Wow.
That's incredible.
And he leads the NHL. He has most games played. And he has most minutes played at 74,438, which is a lot. And he's also second in wins in the postseason with 113. I'm not sure who's first.
Probably Patrick Waugh.
Patty Waugh.
Probably.
And starts at 204 in the playoffs. And, here. Goals against average. This is over 21 seasons. 2.24 goals against average. His save percentage lifetime is 912.
That's pretty good.
That's through the 80s and 90s. Games played 1,266. His lifetime record 691, 397, and 176.
Wow. You're special. He's special.
Did I ever get to see Brodeur play?
I didn't. I never saw New Jersey till this year.
No.
He's a special player. It's crazy because you always have the argument of who's better between Raw and Brodeur. And I think the argument is very, very clear that it's Brodeur, especially just basically all the records he has, plus the fact that he's just been pretty much in his prime forever. Like, he's never really had any issue. Like, he's always been a rocket net despite who he's had in front of him.
He has. I've never been the biggest fan of Martin Brodeur. I don't know, because he's always the reason I don't like players like just anyone who on my dislike list is because that player does incredibly well against teams I like. And Martin Brodeur has found a way every time without fail to just abolish every team I've enjoyed.
Well, I remember being a kid.
But I respect what. Oh my goodness gracious, he's good.
He's done something that no other goalie can do. Like, I don't even know if there's a goalie right now that we'll see again. Well, we'll probably see a goalie again achieve his numbers, but oh boy, it might be a while till we see that. But honestly, we grew up in the same eras, we're the same age. Every time the Leafs played, they'd play one of two teams. They would beat Ottawa, then play Philly or New Jersey, and they could never beat Brodeur. And for some reason, Philly would always get the best of them. And you hate Brodeur, but you gotta respect him.
Oh my goodness! He won the Calder Trophy in first year in '94. He's won the Vezina 4 times in 03, 04, 07, 08. So the William M. Jennings Award. He won in 97, 98, 03, 04, 10. What is it? It's like combined goalies. So like. Combined goalie save percentage. If Pavlik was even a look as talented as Hutchinson, I'm just kidding. They could probably win. They'd have.
It looks like Varlamov and Picard are high up there. Same with Elliott and Allen.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah. So okay,
that's what that is. He won. Yeah, he won 3 cups: 95, 2000, 2003, and he won 2 Olympic golds in 2002, 2010. But he wasn't starting goalie for 2010 because he decided to play like a baseball player. Do you remember that?
Oh my god.
When it's like he kept swinging at pucks.
Yeah,
I'm like, what are you doing? Stop missing the puck.
Then Luongo came. It's crazy because he emerged in 2002 and beat Roy for that starting job.
Yes. Yeah, and namely, I guess Luongo did that to him, and then
Price did that to Luongo.
Yeah, it's a vicious cycle, but it's a cycle I'm willing to. Okay.
Of goalies.
What else? Oh, injuries. Just talking about last week. Mikhail Bodker, he did have emergency spleen removal surgery. It was at Health Science Center here in Winnipeg, which is probably, like, they send you there for most things. He stayed there for a few days, and then he stayed here at a friend's over the break. So he had probably a very terrible break, because our weather sucked. It wasn't nice. I mean, it wasn't bad. Like, it was sucked in terms of, it was, like, cold and warm and slushy. I say it sucked because it was all slushy and gross. All right, and then Eric Johnson out 3 to 8 weeks, which I love. That's like the cable guy. Like, there's a great comedian. His name's John Caparulo. He's got a bit about cable guys. He's like, yeah, so my cable stopped working. I'm not going to try and do his voice. He's like, yeah, my cable stopped working. And they're like, hey, are you going to be home between Monday at 8 and Thursday at 11 p.m.? Yeah, probably. Yeah, we'll be over then. It's like 3 to 8 weeks. That's a real big difference. But anyways, he's out 3 to 8 weeks with the knee scope. Sergei Bobrovsky's out with the groin 4 to 6 weeks. Dion Phaneuf is out with the upper body injury week to week. Do you know what that is?
No. I didn't even know he was injured until you told me.
Cal Oposo, upper body injury 6 to 8 weeks. Christopher Stieg, long-term IR. He's placed on it due to a broken left hand. Suspensions and fines.
This is why you always use righty. You don't go for lefty.
Oh my goodness.
Things break.
Yeah, things break.
Like
wow,
my
we're real off course.
Like my credibility.
Yeah, exactly. Suspensions and fines. Zach Ronaldo, he got 8 games for his hit on Letang. Fun fact that I got about Zach Ronaldo.
Okay, tell me.
He's played 1,675 minutes in the NHL. 1,675 minutes played.
Okay.
How many has he been penalized for? It's a very high number.
1,200.
1,449 minutes! Whoa! What? That's just, what is that, 200? Just over 200 minutes played where he hasn't been penalized. That's ridiculous. Cal Clutterbuck, we talked about this in one of the very first podcasts. He becomes the very first NHL player fined this season for embellishment. And his first infraction is $2,000.
Okay.
Fine for that. And Nikita Zadorov was suspended by the Sabres for failure to report to team following the All-Star break because he showed up late, I guess. I'm not sure. Milestones reached. Jerome McGinley passes Mike Bossy for 20th all-time with 574 goals. Dean Lombardi acted as GM or was GM for his 669th game as the LA GM, which passes Rogie Vachon for most as team's GM. Joe Thornton passes Nick Lindstrom for 21st all-time on the assist list with 879. That's
Wow.
crazy. That's a lot of assists. You think he'll hit 1,000?
Yeah.
3 years? You think he could do that? Like
You think he only has 3 years left?
No. I'm saying, do you think he could do it within 3? I say he has 3 years, good years left, where like he could probably put up really high numbers.
But the thing is he's playing with a growing core in Couture and Hurdle.
Would you trade Thornton?
Thornton?
Yeah, would you trade him?
Maybe. That San Jose needs clearly they're still decent. They have Tommy Wingles,
Great name, James Shepard.
Brent Burns, the Wolfman.
The
himself.
wolf clap for the Wolfman. Yeah. No, Couture, Pavelski. I think Pavelski's got to be the captain if they name one. I think he's got it in the bag. I personally wouldn't even pay. I wouldn't consider anyone else at this point. Maybe Burns.
How's Niemi been playing there this year?
I'm not too sure. I haven't.
Because they're in a playoff spot. They're in second in the
there.
Pacific.
I'm not certain on that, to be honest. I don't know.
Have they won 4 games in a row this year, or do they just lose?
I think they're
lose 4 kind of thing?
think they win 3, lose 2, probably, or win 4, lose 3.
No, they wouldn't be a win 3 in a row, then lose 4 in a row, and just.
Oh, like that. I thought you meant ratio, and I'm like, well, that's weird. Why would you have less? Yeah, I think they're just streaky, very streaky. But yes.
Do you know what I'm alluding to? Them in the playoffs last year against LA. How they wow.
One of those today, guys. With his 90th win as a Colorado goalie, Varlamov passes David Abisher for sole possession of 4th on their all-time franchise list. And obviously we know who number 1 is, Patrick Waugh. It's unbelievable. We talked about Freddie Anderson? No, we didn't. That was before.
Yeah.
Frederik Andersen is the first goalie in Ducks history to record multiple winning streaks of at least 7 games in one season, which is incredibly impressive. Now, here's the granddaddy of them all. The fun fact.
Are you going to talk about,
the one fun fact of the podcast that I usually bring weird one fun fact to the podcast. This week, it's brought to you by Radek Dvorak, who announces his retirement after 1,260 NHL games. He played on 9 teams. One of those teams is the Atlanta Thrashers. How did the Thrashers acquire him, you ask? Well, let me tell you. February 28, 2011, the Panthers traded Radek Dvorak and a 5th rounder to Atlanta for Patrick Rissmiller and Nick Bergfors. That 5th round pick went to the Islanders as a result of a 2010 trade with the Islanders, Rangers, and Thrashers, a 3-way trade. I'm not sure who was in that one. I don't believe anyone too notable. Who did the Islanders pick in 2011 with that 5th round pick, Greg?
Well, you told me.
That's fine. You can say the
Brendan
answer.
Kitchen?
Brendan Kitchen. Now, they couldn't come to agreement, and so after the first year they couldn't come to an agreement, so you're allowed to re-enter the draft if you're still eligible. 2013, he re-enters the draft, and the Jets draft him 190th overall. The Winnipeg Jets / Atlanta Thrashers have drafted, technically, Brendan Kitchen twice.
It's been a Winnipeg Jets draft pick twice.
Both times.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
That is an interesting story. So, McKeichel Finn
watch.
So we got New Jersey, Carolina, Arizona, Edmonton, Buffalo.
Sweet mama.
Toronto, 17 points away from that Buffalo spot right now.
Ooh.
And
so
Buffalo
the Flyers got it.
ahead.
What are the Flyers away? Ooh, they got to be 10 or 11. They're a lot closer than Toronto is.
They're 16.
16?
Flyers are 1 point behind Toronto right now.
Behind Toronto. So, worse?
Yeah. Philly is 47, Toronto's at 48.
We're going to have a battle to the basement for Toronto Flyers.
Hashtag battle of the basement.
Hashtag battle of the basement, Flyers, Leafs edition. Let's do this. That's a new segment. We're going to add that before McKeichel Finwatch Battle of the Basement. Because it's projected that the Flyers are going to finish with, how many points? 80?
Maybe.
Roughly,
yeah,
and
roughly 80.
anywhere 75 to 82 around there. And that's 6th to 8th pick. Right now, the Flyers and a lot of projections are projected to take Swedish defenseman Oliver Killington. Why this name doesn't ring a bell to you. Or Kylington. I'm going to call him Killington. I don't care. Oliver Killington.
I'm still hopeful. Still hopeful for the Leafs.
For playoffs?
No. Connor McDavid.
You can't. No one can outsuck those bottom teams. Seriously, no way.
You get into that?
They can't win that much. They can't. I don't think they have.
You don't think? Okay, look at look where Toronto's playing right now. They're 3-14 in the last 17 games. or something
Oh,
like that.
no, I'm saying the other side. I'm saying Buffalo and Carolina can't win that much.
But let's extrapolate those 20 games. Let's say Toronto's gone 4-16 in the last 20 games. Something like that. Maybe it's 5-15.
I'm
You
with ya.
extrapolate that to the final 40 games. There's a little bit less than that. So let's extrapolate that to the final 40 games. That means that Toronto will win 10 times and lose 30 times in 40 games, we'll say. That'll give them an extra 20 points, which will put them from 48 to 68 currently. Buffalo is currently at 31 points, and they would just need to win less than half of their remaining games to achieve
Won't happen.
that.
Your dream is incredibly far-fetched.
It is incredibly far-fetched.
I don't believe in them.
17 points.
Those top three, the McEichel Finn watch, those teams got it locked down. It's only
Yeah.
going to change position. Like Carolina, Arizona, Buffalo, Edmonton. Those guys, it's a battle.
New Jersey and Columbus are kind of on the outside looking in of
Yeah.
that. That's more the 4 to 8 is the Lawson Krause crop guys.
Yeah, Lawson Gray. It's really what your team needs at that point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to draft one of
Mitch
the top
Marner,
three.
Lawson Krause, Rico Rantanen, Oliver Kylington. There's another defenseman in there. The list goes on.
There's forwards.
We'll
there's
talk
a goalie
about,
or two.
Yeah, we'll talk about as we get closer.
Yeah, when there's less to talk about.
Right now, it's the NHL. Right now is where it's your teams get healthy. Some teams suck. Not to bring this up from last year, but the Jets are the Leafs of last year right now, basically where they're standing. So the Jets could still not make the playoffs.
Oh, I know.
You know?
Yeah, no, it's definitely a possibility.
Right now is a fun time in the NHL because everyone's clicking on all cylinders, and this is where this stretch run. It's where they get going. It'll be interesting to see how they work.
No, I totally agree. I want the Jets to succeed and make the playoffs this year. Being a Leaf fan, I'm hoping for the best but expecting the worst.
Being a Flyers fan, I expect goals, and I expect a lot of goals to be scored on us because that is what happens.
Prediction for tonight.
This evening, honestly, 4-2 Flyers.
7-5 Flyers. Boom. Mail it in.
Okay.
Okay, from all of us at Last Man In Podcast, check us out at lastmanin@gmail.com, lastmaninpc@gmail.com, on Twitter at lastmaninpc, and as always, from us to you, go fuck yourselves.
That's not what he meant. That's very rude. One more go around.
Go fuck yourself, San Diego.
Greg! All right, I'm leaving it at that. Greg,
Bye.
send him hate.